Welcome to Selling Seven Figures Top Performers Tell All, hosted by Kevin Mullaney. Each month, we're diving deep to uncover the secrets of selling big, closing smart, and hitting your highest goals. One guest, one mission. Let's make more money. Ready? Let's go. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Selling Seven Figures, Top Performers Tell All. This is episode 3. I'm your big-headed host. It's Kevin Mullaney. And with us, if you are feeling thirsty, go grab a drink because we've got our guy from PromoCentric, Randy Gurkski. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm doing great. Quite the intro there. I like the music. Excited to be part of it and see what I can do to help.
That's awesome, man. We're really appreciative of having you on. I should have said award-winning Randy Gurski. I saw Distributor Sales Rep of the Year for the New England Promotional Products Association. You and I have been on a number of trips together for the Achievers Club with Facilis. What is it, if you don't mind me asking, that keeps you going every single day when it comes down to your sales mentality to really kind of stay on top?
Yeah, I'm wicked competitive. I mean, and I love money. I mean, so that's two things hand in hand make for a great combination. But every day I come in and I just was like, what can I do that's like to top what I did the day before? And so when I see sales numbers within my own company or within Facilis or even in the industry, you know, if someone's ahead of me or passing me or close to me, I like to destroy them. So it makes me work harder and sell harder and push harder. And then again, the part of that is the money goes up and I enjoy that. So, yeah, so that's what kind of drives me 20 years now. And it's still a huge motivator for me. Plus, I love the creativity of the industry. I like how it changes. I love how it evolves, and I like evolving with it. And with that, it's pretty exciting because every day is a different day.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's such a fun industry for that reason. One day it's umbrellas. One day it's a pretty long, drawn-out ad campaign with, multiple different facets. So really, really fun industry to be in, and glad to see that you're having so much success. How did you get into the industry? Because you were doing something far different prior to getting into the merch.
Yeah, so I was a director of sales at an IT company, and so I never really thought about direct selling. And we would have vendor showcases come in all the time, Kevin. And so I never thought about, so I was the audience that they were seeking to give away these items to try to get them to sell their product, to promote their product. And I really never thought about where this stuff comes from. It just kind of appeared, and I liked it. I used it. I enjoyed it. And then my boss, a VP, had moved over into this industry. And within 6 weeks of being over in the market, he's like, I think you would really thrive in this industry. No more software, no more trainings. You get to use your creativity. And so I came in and did 3 months of a consultant for PromoCentric at that time. It was called hybrid merchandising, I believe. And I fell in love with it, and I never looked back. So yeah, it's cool, fun industry. I can't believe it existed and I never knew about it.
So hybrid turned into PromoCentric, is that
correct? It did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I just saw, is that accurate that you guys were like number one best places to work? Was that last year? Was that this year?
That was last year for PBAI. Yep. So it was our second time getting that honor. So it was pretty cool because up here in New Hampshire, it's there's not a ton of big promo partners and vendors. And so to get the accolades is definitely respected.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. So there's a lot of people like Randy at that office, I would say. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think right now, we have like about 15 sales reps. Like I said, I'm the oldest, tenured at 20. And then after that, we got a group in the 7 to 8. And then a group a few years after that. And then we have 1 or 2 newbies. So
I love it. I love it. Well, when you and I kind of caught up one time, you had talked a little bit about that IT background and that you were leading a sales team. And you talked about having a no titles mantra when you're talking about kind of who you're selling to. Do you mind kind of giving the audience, because I think it's something that translates well outside of promo, but just relationship-based selling?
Yeah, you and I've talked about it. I don't let titles. I feel like titles can give you add to a stress level or could impact how you might be in your own personality. So my belief is everybody's just a human being. everybody has empathy. Everybody has their own struggles. Everybody has kids. So I always tell my team, and when I approach any type of opportunity, is everyone is equal. And so I go in hard so I don't get nervous talking to a CMO or VP of marketing. I speak to them the same way I would speak an event coordinator. I've always believed that being true to yourself and your personality and being authentic is good in the long run, because I feel like they appreciate it. So I always tell them, go big, go hard, and enjoy, and good things will happen.
Yeah, I think that's such great advice, because I'll never forget. There's sometimes when I walk into meetings and I'm thinking, oh, we need this. We have to have this. Or you overhype the people that are going to be in the room. Mm-hmm. I think the sooner you can unmask and get those titles off the board and you just start talking to like humans, now you're on the equal standing and the equal footing. I think that's right.
100%. And I joke around with my guys. I'm like, I go do some pickup ball in the courts on the weekends, and I'm playing like ball against CMOs, and like they're just normal people. It's so I don't treat them any differently. If I'm going to block them or steal the ball in a court, I'm going to do that to their vendors in house right now. So
that's hilarious. I love the basketball analogy. I also think, one of the things that I would always try and do is I always wanted to go and meet clients in their offices. Because I always feel like you could literally learn more about the culture of that organization just by walking around and seeing what's on people's desks, seeing what the employees are wearing, what type of culture that they have versus what's on the website, right?
100%.
And then additionally, I would always like to get those folks with the high title out of the office, because I always felt like their desk in their office was like their home turf. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was on an away game, right? And I always like to be on an equal footing, like you had said. So taking them out to lunch, taking them out for coffee, I felt like it was always a great way to kind of remove that barrier.
100%. It makes you real, and it makes, and having that personal connection is way more impactful than an email or a phone call or even doing a Zoom or Teams. You just have a good ability to connect with that person.
Yeah. One of the favorite things that I love about, conversing with you about sales is that you have said that you haven't made a cold call in years. I think it's Wednesday here, and I'm at, 50 or 60 so far this week. So help me understand, like, when you made that shift in your career to where you weren't smiling and dialing anymore, and really how you are going about it in your new, Randy way of prospecting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 20 years, and like you've been in the industry a long time, it has evolved. So in the early days, it was really hit the phone hard. That's when I would still get fax POs, and that's how I'm dating myself really bad now. But since it's kind of changed, especially since COVID, when everything has honestly gone remote for most people and they haven't returned to the office, I've really focused on like a referral campaign utilizing LinkedIn and just my existing contacts to basically ask them for help. Because again, going back to what I said about no titles is I believe everyone wants to help a person out. I've never met anyone that doesn't want to pay it forward and do something right. So I've kind of gone hard at going to my clients, essentially reminding them how awesome I am at my job and how I make their lives easier and they can sleep at night and have more free time. And thank you very much for doing so. But in return, really, how they could return that favor and help me is if they feel that good, who else can benefit from me? They're on the trade show floor, event floors for event coordinators. The company next to them, hey, why not just introduce me to them, drop my business card with them, find different ways in which my name gets spread about with the least amount of resistance. So essentially, I've assigned my top clients to be field workers for me and spreading my name within their company and similar companies at different events. With LinkedIn, I utilize that. I know LinkedIn has become a little bit more chaotic than what it originally was, but I think there's still a lot of value in it if you do it correctly. And so rather than use a cold call, I honestly use a geography, using my clients again for introductions, second to third degree connections. And you and I have talked about verticals. I stay in the same verticals. So there's a lot of people that are tied into the industry at different companies, and a simple introduction through LinkedIn can open the door very easily and give me credence of why they should be working with me as a promo vendor. So that's kind of how I do that. And then I backfill it with multi-touch campaigns. Like I said, I'm big on, I live in the Seacoast, New Hampshire area, so I'm big on sending postcards of the area, the beaches, images, photography, craft beers. I send craft beers out.
Really?
So I do a lot of multi-touch campaign, spec samples, virtuals. Every day, my day is filled with outreach 100% through any method other than phone call at this point.
I just love it. And we started doing some different things here, and I think just people respect the creativity, right? Mm-hmm. So we've actually done, it's actually a third party. It's called Sendosa that we work with. Yep. They can send out packages. They can send out treats. They can send out something that just warms up the introduction. Yeah. And then just following up to make sure that they receive the package, right?
Correct. And the key to me, for me, that, Kevin, is sending them something, even if it's not applicable to the project need, or even if it's not even promo. My current campaign is sending out vinyl albums. There's nothing to do with promo, but I'm sharing music that I'm really passionate about to different prospects and buyers at companies. And who's not going to open up a vinyl with a personal note? And then Twin Tech has this little turntable Bluetooth speaker that I'm using. So I'm sending that along with the vinyls, and it's opening up a lot of conversations because, you know, someone will come back to me and be like, do you really like Creed? And I can say, yes, I do like Creed. You know, they're amazing. And it turns into a hilarious conversation that can lead to dropping the barriers and quicker turn time on getting that arrangement and partnership put in place.
So interesting. When you talk about shipping alcohol, is that something you can do in your area, or do you go FedEx, USPS? How is it done?
Yeah, so I have it's always good to have friends in good places. So I have a friend that runs a business that's that does basically gift baskets, and they're right down the street from me, and they can ship anything except for hard liquor to 50 states. Wow. So if I want to send something legally without obviously any type of infringement or blowback, I utilize my buddy to help arrange that. But there's other methods. If you don't have a buddy that can ship to 50 states, there are parcel rooms that you can utilize that will take your products in care packs and are licensed to handle the liquor or whatever you're shipping for you. So it's very easy to do, and it's very impactful. Especially I use craft beer, not because I just like beer, but it's, again, a sense of where I'm from. Yeah. So if I'm sending someone that might be a buyer that's, you know, I've seen either on LinkedIn or posting or anything to do with beer or maybe not beer, it's still a great conversation. You know, when they get it, they're like, man, thank you. I don't know who you are, but this is really interesting. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And it becomes more about a relationship from day one than it is about trying to overcome competition, pricing, or anything along that lines.
Yeah, I love that. At times I'll like look up on LinkedIn, I'll send a keychain from their alma mater, sometimes a money clip, something like that. So do you, I love your idea of you showing where you're from though, and having that being the differentiator. That conversation started before. Do you ever go intentional on that person as well, if you know something about them or something you might be interested in?
The only time I'll do that is obviously pet owners and new parents are passionate. And so sometimes if I do see a post on someone that is very active in either of those, I will do a targeted like reach out based on that. But typically I want to send them something that they've never got in the mail before. And that's kind of my goal, or something that's going to have to be a box that they're going to have to open up versus like one of many just traditional swag kits that get sent to them that a lot of times just either doesn't make it to them or gets thrown away before it ever reaches the proper party.
That's so cool. And I know that you said you're really focused on outbound communication, trying to bring in new clients, right? Your next big whale. So you obviously have a team that's supporting your current book of business. Talk to me. You've got some leadership characteristics, obviously, from previous roles. What is it? They always say no one's ever going to care as much as you, right? How do you inspire them? How do you keep them going? And how do you make it fun for them the way that you kind of have your mantra going with everything else, the way you tackle prospecting?
Yeah. So I have two people that work under me, and we segmented my book of business, as I mentioned to you, I think, on our previous chats. So that way we all share ownership of my book, and each person handles a different volume level. So I obviously, the first part I would say is I enable them to be themselves as well. Even though I was the originator of the account, by being the main context for each book, I want them to mimic how I am and be themselves. First and foremost, be yourself. You're not me. Don't try to copy me. Be you. And mistakes happen or anything happens, I have no recourse. I trust you entirely to run the business, what you see fit to do so, and successful. So that's one thing I stand by. And I think by doing so, it allows them to feel more confident. So rather than being like a boss and assistant mentality, I treat them as if they're peers. They have carte blanche to use my budget, my ideas, or anything that they need to help grow their current books that they inherited from me. And we're pretty loose in the office. Sales and business is stressful. So I try to keep it really light. I try to keep it fun. I try not to do any type of management of their time or their days. I really trust them as adults in this day and age to run the business. And we've developed a really cool core community between the three of us that we never want to let each other down, because they know I will do whatever I can to go to the trenches for them. And I think over time you start feeling that as a group. And now it's reciprocal that the three of us would do anything that we could for each other. And that means if one of them had to come in on a Saturday, or someone had to drive something, which happens, and delivery got missed, either one of them would raise their hand, get in a van, and go immediately if it's local. So, and I love that mentality. And, one of them's been with me 8 years, and the other one's coming up on year 3. And we all talk about what we want to accomplish as a group in the future, which is really exciting.
That's awesome. And you said be yourself. I just don't want you to think I'm completely copying your style. This was a little rogue thing. I didn't know we'd both be rocking the hoodies today, but it's we're symbiotic right now with this.
Yeah, 100%. I'm always in a hoodie. So if anyone ever sees me, please come up and say hi. Or anytime, I'm going to be wearing a hoodie unless it's the middle of the summer. So
that's awesome. So we talked a little bit about the verticals, and you're pretty strict with what you try and stick around with, and you're really an expert. What are some of those swimming pools that you're doing your laps in? It's a really, really broad ocean when we talk about being able to put your logo on anything. Yeah. What are the waters that you like to play in?
Yeah, so I'm very strategic. I when I get into verticals, I try to stay within 4 verticals, and I base on locality first. Being in the Northeast, or even within a 1 to 2 ship point, makes it very convenient, because then, as you mentioned earlier, the ability to see them in person is very convenient to drive locally and have that impact. Within that, my next step is the verticals I kind of go after is IT. Obviously, it's my background. And subcategories IT obviously are AI right now, and cybersecurity are 2 verticals I focus on. The next one is cannabis. Cannabis is one of those industries for me that come in a blue moon, where it's like the wild, wild west still. There's so much buying and so much unrestriction when it comes to it, that I know it might not be here long term, but it's a vertical I picked up recently just to kind of cash in on the opportunity. Manufacturing is one that I work on. And then there's my 4th one is one that I always enjoy, is businesses I love. It could be local, it could be anything else that I find like I'm really appreciative of. And like my wife is vegetarian, so some of the alternative meat foods is a fun one to work on, because I obviously could pick her brain and we can talk about how she would want to be marketed as a vegetarian. After that, I even go a step further, is they have to be companies that I can have the ability to grow out a 3 to 5 year window. So I'm looking at what I propose I think they're capable of doing year 1, what I think their growth plan is as an organization for the next couple of years, and how that's going to fluctuate my growth. I targeted individual buyers, and I try to, within each of those, on top of it, I figure out what groups they're within it. Obviously, HR, events, facilities, every potential buyer. And I try to come up with a plan within each of those companies, within each organization, how I can kind of like a spider web, weave my way within the account, so I am fully ingrained in all different positions. So if I'm not getting one new hires out of the gate, I'm still getting into other areas to eventually become the sole vendor for a majority of their promotional items. And so for me personally right now, Kevin, I'm looking at accounts that will do a minimum of about 100 grand. And I'm looking for a maximum of, about $1 million. And the reason I do so is I don't want the Fortune 500s. I don't want the bigger accounts. I want the accounts that could generally appreciate my partnership, my personal touch, the extra effort I put into servicing them. So I really become an extension of them, and I want to be an extension of them. I want them to look at me as part of their team. And that's what I find joy in doing. So that's kind of how I go about, who I go about, and what I go about doing. And then within that, I obviously have a 12-month plan for each of these accounts of what I'm doing every month, from the proactive outreach, the meetings, everything. I have a plan I take everyone through to eventually become, me being the primary vendor for that organization.
Just unreal. I mean, that's exactly how you got to do it, especially in this industry. Everyone can be a buyer, right? But I think a lot of times we look at these accounts, it's the glacier effect. You only see what might be on the surface, but the more and more questions you ask, and I think that's the biggest part of showing up, right? Just keep on showing up. I used to always like to just go to my clients' locations, meet someone for lunch, and then you never know who would buzz by. You're like, oh my God, I got to talk to you. Like, yes, you do. I'll be up there. I'll be up in an hour when I'm done with my lunch.
Yeah, because we're not selling products. We're selling services. So the service is, how do we make their lives better? So it's identifying those pain points and those meetings and those interactions. And that's where the projects come. They come from uncovering those areas that keep them up at night. So, and that's what I like to do. I like solving that.
I think that's awesome. Well, there's one thing that we're leaving everyone with, and this could be whether it's a personal motto or something that you want to leave our audience with, but we call it the senior quote moment. So, Randy, if you were going to share one lasting thing, or if you have multiple, we'll hear them all, what would be your senior quote?
Yeah, I tell everyone, and I tell the facilities vendors, that the sellers, this all the time, is never take your foot off the gas. Every day we get busy. And it's easy to say, I'll get to that tomorrow. And it's a non-negotiable for me, is every day I leave the day knowing I did something proactive for existing business to grow or brand new business. I never miss a day. And so that would be my motto, is never miss a day to be proactive. It's probably the most important thing you can do to sustain long-term success in the industry and achieve your financial and sales dreams.
It's beautiful. I really do agree with exactly what you're saying, because anytime you say I'm busy, you're now tricking your mind to even making yourself sound busier than you already are. Is that fair to say?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So as soon as you said it, you've kind of lost, right? It's something I actually just learned, listening to a podcast. Someone was talking about anxiety, and someone said, I have anxiety. I struggle with anxiety. It's like, get that out of your head. That's only going to lead to more anxiety and make you an anxious person. You're talking the wrong things into your brain by saying I'm busy, by saying I have anxiety.
Yeah, 100%. And if I had to add one more thing to what I would tell anybody that's out there, is don't overthink it. Some people spend way too much time overthinking it, and, have a client. If it's a big opportunity, send it in. Don't wait for it. Don't overthink it, and don't panic. Move on to your next. Let things happen as they will. Don't lose sight of the big picture. I try to tell that to everyone.
I love it, Randy. This has been awesome chatting with you. Congrats.
Yeah, it's awesome seeing you, man.
Yes. So hopefully we'll be able to catch up again soon, but keep doing what you're doing. Keep leading that team and keep making PromoCentric such a great place to work with. And again, the way you reach out, you work with other facilities folks, you're really a great person to kind of lean on and share best practices with. So I learned a ton today, and I'm definitely going to adopt a lot of it in my day-to-day.
Awesome, Kevin. I appreciate you having me on, and I wish you the best and can't wait to connect.
Love it. All right, thanks. We're going to end it. We're going to do the slow outro. Everyone knows what's coming next.